What's going on, everybody? My name is James Banks, and I have the pleasure of getting to interview nitr0 here as he's now embarking on a new venture in Valorant. We're starting things off for his YouTube channel, and we're going to be having a little look back at some of those CS moments and then looking at everything that is happening now within your life. But to start off with, Nick, how you doing, mate?
I'm doing good, doing good. Just chilling. I've been grinding Valorant the past like month or so. I played a little bit in the beta,
Yeah.
like I don't know, like maybe like a month or so when the game first came out around like March, and then I stopped playing completely. And then I started playing in like mid-July and I started really enjoying it to be honest, and like learning all the ins and outs of the game. And I don't know, it's really fun now, to be honest.
Well, I'm going to go back a little bit, right? Because we've done many interviews in the past as well. I'm going to come
Hmm.
back as you've had over 5 years on Liquid, right? We've done many of these interviews. But you've had some incredibly high highs with Liquid. You've been record breaking. You've been setting the NA scene on fire. There's been some lows for you guys as well, but you've always been able to bounce back. But I guess with you being removed from the lineup, was it something that you expected or did it come as a surprise?
Um, I I wouldn't say it was like necessarily expected, but I knew that something needed to change in the team. I don't know if it was a player or like a coach or like no one really knew the answer to it. And then I just decided to bench myself because I knew there was like talks to like of team talks and stuff like that. I wasn't included, so I knew something might happen. And at the same time, I thought it was like a better moment for me to like bench myself and like give the
Mm.
other guys an opportunity to change within the team. And I mean, I've been here forever. I've done it all with that with those guys, and um, the recent like team iteration that we had was probably the best we've ever had. And then you could just tell like we had kind of reached our potential in 2019, and it was really rough like in 2020 the whole year. So
Yeah.
I think it was better for the both of us to depart ways, and I've been really happy ever since. So I don't regret anything.
And that's always a good way to go with it. Now, I wanted to ask you because obviously you in Liquid had so many roles, right? You were one of the most versatile players. You would do anything when it came to making this team work. Now, do you think when it was that time where Stewie took over the in-game leading and you then having to change up roles once again, do you think that was kind of a part that played into how this all went down?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I mean, to be honest, whenever I stepped down from in-game leading, I thought that I still think I do have a lot of potential, but like in that team, I think I kind of lost like my forte a little bit in
Mm,
terms of like just my voice overall and just my ability to like get frags in the game. Like I feel like I was supporting a lot of the times. I can't say I was always supporting, that would just be ignorant, but I was supporting like a lot of the time, making sure like our guys got all their frags like that they should be getting and stuff like that. And I wanted to be alive in the later rounds just to like clutch because I feel like I have good comms and stuff like that. But
yeah.
um, yeah, I kind of like felt like I fell off a little bit, and then once I stopped in-game leading, it didn't feel like it changed much in game for me. Because at first, whenever I stopped in-game leading, I thought it would be like pretty good for me to just like get back to my groove and
Of
maybe get
course.
like some more frags that I wouldn't normally get if I was in-game leading. But it kind of felt the same. Like my role didn't really change too much in the actual default and in the actual strats. I was kind of doing the same thing. I was just talking less essentially
Mm.
because it was less micromanaging because when you're in-game leader. You get to micromanage a lot more.
Oh, yeah.
However, I was still thinking about the game a lot more than I would normally be as if I wasn't an in-game leader. And I don't know, it didn't really feel like it was that big of a change, to be honest. But I may have like stopped, or not stopped, but I may have like talked less, I guess. But
Hmm.
I was still thinking like a lot and trying to set up teammates and stuff like that. So it wasn't too big of a change, to be honest.
Now, in terms of your journey with Liquid, right, it was an incredible one. You guys had many different rosters. You finally found a lot of success, especially in 2019, and you had some huge battles at the beginning of the year. But I want to see what is your best memory? What is the highest high you had being with Liquid? What's the thing that stands out that you know you're never ever going to forget?
I mean, it's got to be the Grand Slam win in Cologne, to be honest, because it's not only was it like the Grand Slam win, like the amount of money that was there and like the
Mm,
prestige behind it, but um, we came in the quarterfinals or this, I think it was the semifinals of Columbus 2015, and that was like a huge step for North American Counter-Strike.
yeah.
And then um, Cologne, we came in the final, and that was like the first time I played in front of like that many people. I think it was like 18,000 people or something in the arena.
It's special.
And then yeah, it was super special. And then to win in Cologne, which everyone, I think every Counter-Strike player considers Cologne the most prestigious tournament.
Hmm.
It really felt special to me winning that tournament and that location with all those fans there, and then also winning the Grand Slam there because like we were on such a hot streak that it felt really good to win that tournament and specifically. And then the celebration was just like mind blowing, to be honest. There's so many like Liquid fans and it was awesome.
And it was a whole year, right? Because I remember it going from like being at the events alongside you guys, and it started off the year as like heavily Astralis, right? No matter where we
Mm.
went, and then you just saw more and more of these Liquid jerseys fill the arena, fill out the stadiums, and it must have been a great feeling for you guys. But I think that there's one part I have to touch on here is your time with Liquid is you and Elise, the amount of time you guys played together, traveled together, the events and stuff you have. I just wanted to see from your perspective, like how you would describe him as a teammate and as a person, because you must have created such a pretty incredible bond that I guess many teams don't ever get because it's not often we see this kind of long time as two players being together.
Yeah, John and I had like a really close relationship throughout our whole entire time in Liquid. I think we can both say that we're the closest on every iteration of the team just because we know each other like brothers because we've been together we've talked to each other the last like every day for the last 5.5 years or so. And you don't really get to say that about many people that you work with. And we had a special relationship, and it was really hard departing from Liquid, from him and Russ, and specifically because um, I talk to these guys every single day of my life, literally, besides maybe like one day a week on the weekend or something. But then again,
Hmm.
we were still playing games and stuff like that, and traveling the whole world with them. It's really that was the hardest part of departing Liquid,
Yeah.
was leaving those guys behind, and um, I think the hardest part for them is gonna be when they go to LAN and like they don't have me there because I've been to every LAN that they've been to pretty much. I
Yeah.
think that's like gonna be the hardest part. This online era is kind of weird because I don't know, it doesn't feel real in terms of like being in a team environment. Like you
Mm.
just talk on Discord, like you talk to your friends every day. It's not like you have like these interpersonal relationships, like talking to face to face, having like one-on-one conversations with your teammates and stuff like that. It just doesn't feel the same. It doesn't hit the same. So I think once they go to LAN, it's gonna feel a little bit different at first. But
Oh yeah.
I mean, all in all, we've had really good experiences together, so we can't regret anything and can't look back. So I know they're gonna keep doing well.
Now, we know already at this point, right? You're on Valorant, and that's where you're going forward. But I got to ask, was there some offers that came straight up to you in CSGO? And is it something that may have been an option for you, or was it just instantly, okay, this is my time to transition?
Yeah. So whenever I first decided to bench myself, I wanted to play Counter-Strike like 100%. Like I
Aha.
was gonna see what offers I was gonna get and just go from there. And I honestly didn't get too many offers, surprisingly.
Oh,
I
wow.
had some international offers, but I'm not really willing to move right now.
Of course.
But to be honest, I kind of reached out to some NA teams that I thought like would maybe need me or I could improve them a little bit just with my experience and stuff because I definitely feel like I have a lot of fuel left in me and I'm really
Mm.
young still. And yeah, I mean, no one really wanted me, I guess. But it is what it is, and I kind of saw Valorant as like another out for me,
Yeah.
and it's something new to learn. And if I'm learning, then I'm happy, and that's what makes me happy is learning the new game or learning stuff in general. And yeah, I just kind of took it from there. I got some offers in Valorant when people noticed me start playing and streaming it and stuff.
Mm.
So yeah, that's just kind of how it went.
Now, it's really interesting to me. You said two things there, right? First of all, that there wasn't any offers really that obviously was interesting you for CSGO, but you still had that motivation and drive when it came to it. When you look at CSGO, right, obviously it's given you so much when it comes to it. What were you able to look at and say, okay, like how did you decide I want to be able to maybe I can do this role in this team or maybe do this? Because I was very much thinking, yeah, you wouldn't go international, especially because I know your living situation, like with you're married now, right? Is that it's correct? So
Yeah.
like, yeah, you
Mm.
got your wife and stuff. It doesn't make too much sense. But was there like a position where you said this team would definitely need me, and then you kind of had to deal with the fact that oh wait a second, maybe I didn't see what I wanted in it, or maybe I was incorrect in it. Did you ever start to second guess yourself?
Nah, not really. I have a lot of confidence in myself, and I know what I can bring to the table to teams, and especially in Counter-Strike, because I've been doing it my whole life, pretty much. It feels
Mm.
like. Um, but I was kind of like talking to the people that I want to maybe like team up with, and saying like I can in-game lead, I can do whatever you want, like
Yeah.
whatever I do, I know I'm gonna go all out at. I told everyone that, and like whatever I do next after Liquid, I'm going all out, whether it's streaming, competing in Counter-Strike still, Valorant, like another career or something, like I'm going all out in. And yeah, that's kind of just how it went, and I was kind of
Okay.
upset a little bit, but I kind of got over it, and I'm very happy at how everything actually worked out.
Well, we definitely know from just your CS career, right? You're a fighter from start to finish, so we knew you'd be
Yeah.
back in some way for sure. When it comes to North American CS, and this is kind of my last part on like the CS side of things that I want to get down with you is, are
Mhm.
you impressed of where the NA scene has got overall, or do you kind of still see it in the same way that there's like one top team, then obviously you've got the Brazilian teams alongside it, and there's a lot of other teams still struggling, but slowly bringing some new blood in, but not really finding enough success to rise up?
Yeah, NACS has been, I feel like whenever I was like first starting out, it kind of like plateaued a little bit, and then it started getting better once like Liquid and the Energy guys started like really picking it up, and people started noticing like that people can do it from NA and work as a team and stuff like that. And I feel like it went up, like all these like North American teams were like kind of coming up in the ranks, and then all
Mm.
of a sudden it kind of plateaued, and now it's kind of like in a really weird spot where like a lot of people that know they're not gonna make it or don't have connections or stuff like that, like they're playing Valorant more. So I'm not really sure like what my stand is on NACS. I don't think it's in a good spot right now. I think there's like two or three NA teams that are really good and that would be able to contend against Europeans, but for the most part, I don't really see too much talent coming up right now.
Mm.
Um, but it's kind of like always been like that, to be honest. And there's always been like like maybe two to three teams that can really stand internationally,
Yeah.
and you can tell like when someone has it, like that can compete at the very top. Like Grim is really insane. You could tell that that kid's gonna be good. Just like I could tell that Russ was gonna or Twist was gonna be good back in the day. You could just tell like they have that like intuition as a
Yeah.
player, and they also have the aim. Because most players they either have one or the other.
No, no, I can completely see that, and I remember. I think it was right at the beginning when Russ came to Liquid, and like you guys were bigging him up, and we're sat there on the desk and stuff saying like, yeah, he's gonna be one of the best players in the world, and he finally proved it, right? You had a good eye for that
Oh
side of
yeah,
things. Now,
yeah, we all knew it.
yeah, definitely. Now with Valorant though, right? What I found's quite interesting. You are probably the highest rated like CS player from America now moving over to Valorant, which is a huge step anyway. But a lot of the players that maybe had already retired or even struggled to reach the top scene because there wasn't opportunities, like they may have had the abilities or whatever, are actually finding success very early on here. Why do you think that is though? Like, is it just the case that the other top CS players haven't come into it yet, so they've got that room to grow, or is this just an opening of a new chapter and a new door for a lot of players to really show what they could have potentially delivered in CS?
Yeah, it's a good question. It reminds me of Counter-Strike 1.6 because if you remember back, people would didn't want to change to CS:GO because they were
Oh
so
yeah,
stuck on 1.6, or maybe they're stuck on Source, and then they give the game the new chance and they start learning it and they start progressing, and they find people that they enjoy playing with, and like just take it from there. And I feel like that's kind of how I am right now. Like I was one of those people that didn't want to switch to Go. I thought the game was really bad. I didn't even want to play Counter-Strike at all anymore. I was just playing because I went to an ESA LAN in 2013 with some friends that we were just playing ESA Invite with,
yeah,
and and I had honestly never played Go at that point, but but they had CS:GO at that event, and they had like um and faculty and
mm-hmm.
IP was there and stuff like that, and like all these players are like behind them, like, oh my God, like this is the next biggest game, and like because all the 1.6 players switched over and stuff like that, and
Yeah.
it was super hype, and I was like, maybe I should give this game a try. But then again, back then, like the game wasn't that good. It was like kind of like weird. Like
A
you could
few
throw Molly across
issues.
the whole entire map. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot of bugs and stuff like that. So it kind of got my attention, but not really. I didn't know what I wanted to do. But then again, like Valorant, I kind of at first I was like, this game's like kind of weird. It's feels like a 1.6 copy, but it's really
Mm,
not. Or not 1.6, Counter-Strike copy, but it's really not. It's like its own game. And the more I think about it, it's not like Counter-Strike at all. It's the only way it's like Counter-Strike is because it's like a 5v5 terrorists against def or attack versus defense, and it's like
thank you.
it's the
Thank you for
same.
saying that.
Yeah, it's the same in that aspect, but there's so many different aspects to it, different maps, different abilities that you could do, different comps that you can do, and like
Mm,
it's not the same at all, but it's the same in terms of like the clutch situations, like the communication is very similar to Counter-Strike, and a lot of stuff that you learn to Counter-Strike you bring over to Valorant, and you have like a head start on a lot of things in that game, but I feel like it's a game that you have to grind and you have to really like be in the meta with.
yeah.
Because like if you, I remember whenever I first came to Valorant, it was like I was getting owned by kids I didn't even know their name or never heard of them. I'm like, dude, this kid is insane. Like, like I should be owning him, right? Like I play
Yeah,
Counter-Strike.
yeah.
But the more like I really play the game and like even in ranked games, I'm like, dude, this kid's cracked. Like he's so good.
Mm.
But I guarantee I never said that in matchmaking in Counter-Strike Go because
Oh,
it's
of
just a
course.
completely different game. So yeah, it's been awesome learning it and stuff. And um, for any player that's like really wanting to play the game, like you can't be like too cocky when it comes to it because you're gonna get owned at first.
Definitely. Now, you spoke about it at the beginning of the interview, right? You played a bit during the beta of the game. You played a bit back in March, but before you actually joined up with 100 Thieves, how much did you actually play hour-wise in Valorant? And how did you know that it was a game that you could see yourself playing competitively in again? Because it's a different thing from just playing a game and enjoying it, right? And then a game that you want to sink the time into, you want to learn all about, like you already touched on, your interest in actually learning it. So I just want to know how you kind of came to that decision.
All right, so like I said, I played back in the beta in March, and like I got like the Twitch key and stuff like that,
Yeah.
and we were just kind of playing for fun, like me, John, Russ, Jake, and stuff like that. And like I said, the game was like pretty fun, but it was like kind of new. And I felt like at the time, like we weren't doing that good in CS, so I didn't really want to play a game that might mess with my sensitivity
Of
or like
course.
just like mechanics in general. So I stopped playing completely. And then all my good buddies that I just like chill with and Discord with it at the night, they always play Valorant. So I was kind of like I don't really want to play Valorant too much because it messes with my game. So I would just hang out with them, but I wouldn't play Valorant. I didn't play Valorant for like months.
Oh, wow.
And then I started playing like the player break. I think my last match was like July 6th. And then I didn't play Valorant like right at that moment because I didn't know what I wanted to do. But I started playing like around mid-July just to see if I really liked the game or not because
Mm.
it was a little bit different from the beta and stuff like that. And
Yeah, yeah.
um I started enjoying it more and like the way I am as a person is like once I put my mind on something, I go all out. And I kind of just like mentally transferred my mind over to Valorant. I started learning it and stuff like that, and like studying the game a little bit. And um, I don't know. I think I do have a mind for the game, and it's like I said, it's really cool to learn.
Now, we touched on it, right? You're on 100 Thieves now. But how did it all come about? Because it seemed like a really quick transition, at least from the public eye.
Um, so Spencer actually reached out to me, and then we like talked about the game and stuff like that. And obviously, he goes a ex teammate of mine, and we always had a
Yep.
good relationship. So, right there, it was kind of like, okay, like this is probably where I'm gonna go, but let me just see what happens. Let me give it some time because I don't want to rush into anything, and
Mm.
because I've been practicing my whole life or every day for like the last 6 years straight.
Yeah.
So, kind of like took a little break. The player break was still going on, and I didn't even open Counter-Strike from like July 6th. So I was kind of like just chilling and then playing a little bit of Valorant here and there. But I guess Spencer kind of like noticed that I was open to offers.
Mm.
Like once he saw me playing the game more and he saw that Liquid benched me and stuff like that. So we just kind of took it from there. And then, yeah, I mean, that's kind of like where we're at right now in the story.
And that's what's interesting, right? So we've got you and Hiko back together, but you're having to build this team. So how is this working? Because as far as I was aware, he was kind of put as like the captain, the leader. But is it a potential for you to be IGL of this team? And how are you looking for players? What are you looking for? Because you guys both have so much experience and knowledge. I can imagine you guys being like the perfect talent scouts to try and build an actual super team. Because in America at the moment, when it comes to NA Valorant, we got a few good teams, but it's very like close, right? Yet you could probably take one or two players from each team and make the like godlike team, which is kind of what I guess you guys are trying to do.
Yeah. So basically, yeah. I wanted to in-game lead, but I think in this game you can't have like four fraggers where like in Counter-Strike you could have like a team full of fraggers and like one mine that
Mm.
just like micromanages everything, and that one mine might not perform well, but he'll just like guide all the other players. In this game, I feel like it's so different in the aspect that like you need to like really be communicating amongst each other, like what utility, like what comps we're playing against, like what utility the other team's using. Did they dart? How much time do they have left on their recon dart? How much
Mm.
did they use two slow orbs? Did they use their wall? Did you kill any traps? Like there's so many different things, and I feel like a player in this game has to really like think about the enemy team instead of just like
Oh yeah.
focusing on two flashes, a nade, and a molly or a smoke, and you got to have like the way I envision this game is on defense and specifically. I feel like um you can't be like a one trick jet. You can't be like a one trick cipher. You have to have multiple comps because I think eventually the game's going to evolve into people are going to be stunning you so hard that like you can't do these same trips every round. They're going to be broken by a ray satchel or like a shock dart or something. So what
Mm.
is going to happen is I feel like we're going to have like two agents that work together well, but it's going to be the same people at the bomb site working together, but they're going to have the opportunity to change agents.
Yeah.
And then so like what that means like on a scent a B maybe you put like instead of a Sova there, you put a Sage there, but it's like the same person playing with the other same person at that bomb site. So it's like a bomb site buddy essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think like it's gonna eventually be that dynamic. So I don't think when I see like these Jet one tricks, like it doesn't really intrigue me that much because I don't know if Jet's gonna get nerfed one day. I don't know like no one knows anything, you know.
Of
It's
course.
not something that you can base your decisions off of. But yeah, I think I definitely want to in-game lead. I think I have a mind for it, and I definitely feel
Mm.
like refreshed coming from Counter-Strike and I feel motivated. So that's really good.
So how are you guys looking for players then at the moment? What are you guys doing at the moment in terms of like trying people out and testing things? Because everyone's excited to see where this may go. I guess for me, I'm looking at this as like, okay, everyone's talking about TSM, everyone's talking about Sentinels, but I feel like with you and Hiko on the team already, add three more pieces, put your minds together with it. I think that this could be the team that changes things up for NA in a big way. Like we could see the G2 from Europe but done in NA.
Yeah. So the way we're kind of approaching it right now is we're looking for players who fit the role that we want within the game. So essentially, like they have the Sentinels, the controllers, the duelists,
Mm.
the stuff like that. So we're kind of looking at our players that we want as that instead of just finding like people that are gonna quote unquote entry frag or quote
Yeah.
unquote op, quote unquote lurk. You know what I mean? We're looking for flexible players that will be able to do that we know down the road will be able to switch roles when we deem necessary. And um, we are, however, like looking at we're not only looking at Counter-Strike players. I think that would be very ignorant to do because, like I said, in beta, like these players have been grinding this game for a while and they're
Yeah.
actually ahead of the curve. But we do feel like we can see potential in a lot of players not from CS because like me and Spencer have been around the CS team forever. We know these players, we know what they could do, and we know if they've reached their potential. They're young players or old players. Like we know most about the Counter-Strike players, but it's been really cool learning about all the other players in this game, like all the Fortnite players, Apex players. Like the best team in the NA right now is like Apex and Overwatch players. Like it's pretty crazy to think about, but that's just how it is. And like I think in my mind, it would be very ignorant to not to just deem out all the or not deem out, get rid of all like the other players from other games and completely scrap them off the books because I just don't think that's how it is right now.
No, I completely agree with you there, right? There's a mix of different mechanics that these players come from. Also, the way they approach the game is very different to it. What I really
Hmm.
like what you're saying, though, is on the agent side, because To me, it sounds like you're very much not focused on just the player being good on one or two agents, that they need to be very versatile with it, especially because we know the agent pool can grow. What we've actually seen in Asia from some teams is they've rocked up with 7-man rosters and they've had specific players like, oh, he only plays this agent. But I guess you're looking to do the opposite on that, and you want to say this player can just play, say, like the Jet, the Phoenix, right? And be there as your duelist player, potentially use the Rainer as well, you know? Is that the kind of option you're going for?
Yeah, so I think like the way I envision is like each so we're gonna have like the quote unquote role within the team will be like a duelist, the sentinel, and the controller. The
Mm.
controllers will be the smokers and stuff like that, the
Yep.
flashers, the supporters. And then the duelist will be like he can interchange between like I don't know, Jet, Reyna, and Phoenix. The controller can be Omen, Brim, and then the Sentinel will be Sage, Killjoy, or Cypher.
Yeah.
But you'll be able to like interchange them in the game and then like in the middle of the game as well. Like so we could put Cypher at A, we could put Cypher at B, and it's like stuff that you can practice in your off time when you're not scrimming, stuff like
Hmm.
that. But also have like a connection at the bomb site on your default defense. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I'm following. This is a really good way of looking at it, because I think a lot of teams aren't doing that right now, and you can kind of see it in their play style where they suffer on certain maps because they don't have that versatility. But then they're better when it comes
Hmm.
to the other maps, because it's like, oh well, we can rely on this, and we see it across best of threes. They'll regularly lose, like, I know Bind as an example. They just don't have the agents that'll be able to smoke out correctly, and they're far too much in the open. They're relying on different agents in different ways. Now, I got to get your
Yes.
thoughts while
Yeah.
you're here, because Sentinels and TSM, right? They're battling back and forth. But who do you think is the best NA team right now, and how do you view the teams? Do you actually see them at, like, doing anything that you go, oh, okay, these guys are currently ahead of the curve?
Um, I, I, it's hard to say to be honest. It's either TSM or Sentinels for sure. I don't really have like a definite answer, but I feel like it changes every week, and TSM has probably been the most impressive considering like their team is Counter-Strike players, but they weren't like the strongest of the Counter-Strike players, but they're making it work and it
Yeah.
looks cool. So I see MV being pretty innovative with like their setups around like Killjoy and stuff like that. So I know they've been putting time in the server.
Mm.
Sentinels just seems like they're just all hitting their shots, and I know they just switched in-game leaders. If I'm not mistaken, between Zoms and Shazam. So not sure where they're at right there, but they just won the last tournament, so it's hard to say that they're not the best team right now. And TSM actually got knocked out early, but they also won the last three tournaments, so it's some weird stuff going on right now in NA. But um, yeah, I mean, I've seen some really cool setups and really innovative setups, which I still think there's so much more to this game that we could do, and
Yeah.
especially with like the new agents coming out, like there's so many more setups we could do than being dynamic within it, like the Killjoy stuff. Like maybe like an example would be like in ranked and like 10 mans and stuff. I see players they plant the bomb or the spike and then they just throw their mollies on top of the bomb. However, like it's just because people aren't used to like satchelating the bomb before they start defusing or shock darting it. And
Mm.
then like that's completely just nullified because they're gone. The mollies are destroyed, right?
Yeah.
So people are like throwing the mollies on their executes. They're maybe throwing the molly like based off their alarm bot or off a teammate's contact and just triggering it because you can do it across the map. They might be like putting it somewhere else to watch a flank, and then once the alarm bot goes off or the turret shoots, like they trigger the thing. I don't know. It's just like there's so many different things you could do with it, and I think that can like literally define a meta in itself, just like playing off like Killjoy stuff. And to me, that's like really cool. And I see a lot of teams that are being innovative, and that just like I don't know. I really enjoy watching stuff like that.
Sounds like you certainly got the motivation and hunger for it all, mate. It's great to hear
Yeah.
how you're breaking it all down and how you're looking at it already. Now, obviously, we're stuck in the online environment, right? Nothing can change on that for the moment. But there's this whole thing about, like, looking at the EU teams and seeing what different styles they have. Do you watch much of the European Valorant side of things? And you got any thoughts on that?
Yeah, actually watched I think G2 streamed the match versus Liquid, and like I don't know why they're streaming it, but they were streaming their matches, and I watched like all the VODs. I was just listening to how they communicate and stuff like that, and it's to be honest, it's not too different from NA,
Mm.
but They're pretty insane, like the shots they hit and stuff like that. But they're also at the same time running like different metas. Like I see them running a lot of or different comps. They're running a lot of like Breach, Reyna, where in NA you have I think the only team that runs Breach right now is like Sentinels, if I'm
Mm.
not mistaken, at the top. And I don't know. I think you can learn a lot. And if you don't watch European teams, you're really that's like a really dumb thing to do, in my opinion, because you can bring a lot of stuff over from there to here because we literally
Yeah.
haven't even played each other in the game yet. And like that's also another like chapter in the book that like it's gonna be so cool once we actually get to that level and
Oh yeah.
hopefully the COVID stuff dies down and like we're able to actually compete against each other just like in Counter-Strike. So I don't know. Yeah, I try to watch like some European matches for sure because I feel like you can learn a lot from them.
I'd highly recommend some of the Asian tournaments as well. Some of these guys are pulling out like when we were
Hmm.
covering it before, it completely throws you off guard. It's like nothing we saw from EU or NA, and they make it work. They've got their own style with it. So, like you're saying, when we get to
Yeah.
the land side of things, it's going to be completely crazy. Now, Nick, I'll get into my last question here for you. Is basically just to open up, right? This is your YouTube channel. These are all your fans that are watching. Is there anything you want to say out there to the fans of old and the new fans coming in from Valorant?
Not anything in specific. I just like I really like the people who supported me throughout the whole entire time. And Counter-Strike, I see a lot of fans who are kind of mad that I left, but they should be happy that I'm staying in the scene in general because I feel like I could still bring a lot to North American esports in terms of just like Valorant. I can bring a lot from Counter-Strike to Valorant, and obviously, like you guys can support me on my stream at twitch.tv/nitro. I'm gonna be trying to like do some guides and stuff like that, and
Oh, sweet.
trying to help out like maybe like a player who's stuck on Immortal, what he can do to be better, or like
Mm.
just figure out like the best comps that you can probably run in ranked. And I don't know, just I have a bunch of ideas in my head, so I'm gonna be trying to be more productive in that sense, and I feel like it also helps me at the same time. So gonna help it. I'm gonna help everyone help me.
Sounds like it'll help me as well. Well, Nick,
Yeah.
it's been a pleasure to talk to you as well, to even be able to do this and see you go from Valorant and follow you along whichever journey it is. And you're definitely always going to have my support,
Mhm.
mate. So I'm looking forward to seeing what this 100 Thieves lineup's going to do when you get it all together. For everyone
Yeah,
watching,
I'm excited too.
yeah, I can't wait to see it go down. And for everyone watching, thank you very much for tuning in. Do not forget to subscribe down below because Nick will be producing lots of stuff like he was just saying there. And we'll see you next time.
Thanks, guys.